My Sinister Harry Potter crossover short story, Harry Potter and the Babylonian Deity. Chapter 4, The Drawing. Year 1998. Most of the time, the neighbors tried their best to ignore 4 Privet Drive. Today, though, their attention was drawn to the house, or rather to the figures standing in front of it. Children playing in the street stopped their game and openly gawked. 2 women who were gossiping across the fence made a running commentary. "Maybe it is the realtor," the one suggested. "I've seen the realtor before," the other one disagreed. "I'd say these are potential buyers. Or maybe the new owners. Look at how they're dressed. Where do you even get clothes like that?" "I don't know. Circus Tents R Us." Both women sniggered, causing one of the figures in front of 4 Privet Drive to turn and scowl at them, though surely he couldn't have overheard them at that distance. The women quieted down, feeling a chill from the stranger's frosty stare. Meanwhile, the scowling figure turned to his companion, who was staring forlornly at the house. "Why don't we go inside? We're attracting a bit of attention." Albus Dumbledore turned and saw the children staring at them, as well as the 2 women. He nodded. "Yes, I think that would be wise." Mad-Eye Moody hobbled to the door. Discreetly, he pulled out his wand and whispered, "Alohomora." The door opened with a click. The 2 men shuffled inside. Mad-Eye Moody shut the door behind them. "I don't know what you were hoping to find here. The place has been empty for 2 years. "Answers," Dumbledore replied softly. The Auror sighed. I don't think you are going to find any, and if you did, I doubt you would like them." Dumbledore strolled into the living room. "I may not like them, true, but at least I would know." The headmaster looked around the room. The walls were bare of photographs or paintings. There was no furniture. As if reading the headmaster's mind, Alistair Moody explained, "All the belongings were taken away by the realtor. Our people had gone through it before, of course, but we didn't find anything." Dumbledore walked out of the living room and went to the front of the stairs. He paused and looked up at the landing, as if he expected to see a child staring down at him, a child with a lightning bolt scar on his forehead. He started to climb the stairs. Alistair Moody followed. Bagul had one weakness. He liked to gloat. It wasn't perhaps a surprise that he preferred the company of children in his domain. No one appreciated a good nanny boo-boo like Bagul, or at least he enjoyed it as long as he was saying it. On the receiving end of it, he didn't tend to be as good of a sport about it. He looked over at his children, who were taking a nap at the moment. Harry Potter was bundled up in his blanket, looking very much like the swaddled infant Albus Dumbledore had left on the doorstep years before. Yes, Bagul liked to gloat. That was why he couldn't resist leaving a present for the old wizard who was strolling through the house, trying to find out what had happened to the boy he had deposited there years earlier. They strolled through the entire house, from attic to basement, finding nothing except a dead mouse. Finally, they entered the backyard. "This is where they found them," Mad-Eye Moody pointed out with his walking stick, his fake eye darting around. "Our people got hold of the crime scene photos. The scene was not for one with a weak stomach. Their heads had been blown completely off, and someone had drawn a symbol on the ground here." The Auror pointed to the spot that had been bleached clean, with their blood and some of their brain matter. The Aurors had never seen anything like it. I've never seen anything like it in all my years, even at the height of the dark times. "Nobody heard anything?" Dumbledore asked, shocked, his face turning greenish. All the neighbors said that all they'd heard was a horrible racket of fireworks. Some were going to call the police, but the noise ended within 5 minutes, and then there was total silence. "Strange," the headmaster frowned. "They found everyone except the boy?" "Yes, the aunt, the uncle, the cousin, the uncle's sister, the mutilated remains of a dog, which was found in the bushes over there, and Mrs. Figg." "Ah," Dumbledore sighed heavily, "that is why we didn't hear about this sooner. I had assigned her to watch over the boy and to notify me if anything went wrong. Alistair Moody grimaced. Woman was a crazy old bat. Maybe, Dumbledore conceded, but I thought she could be trusted. She was a squib, and she knew how to live in this world without arousing suspicion. The Dursleys trusted her enough to let her babysit the boy many times. Did they know she was from our world? Oh no, otherwise I doubt they would have trusted her, squib or no, the headmaster sighed. You were right, there was nothing here. He turned to go back into the house. Alistair Moody followed. Inside the house, Dumbledore was about to pass the cupboard when he abruptly stopped, causing Mad-Eye Moody to almost collide with his form. On impulse, Dumbledore opened the cupboard and peered inside. He was surprised and a bit concerned when he saw the small bed. He closed the door a little and noticed there was a lock on the outside, and even a little vent that could be closed from the outside. It was very much like a prison cell. He opened the door again, frowning. What is it? Alistair Moody asked gruffly. Did you find something? Dumbledore was about to reply in the negative when a piece of paper caught his eye. It was peeping out from under the bed. He bent down and grabbed it. It was a child's drawing. It showed a little girl shoveling snow over 4 people who were lying in a hole. They were bound with Christmas lights. Standing in the background was a male figure that didn't quite look human. The child who had drawn it hadn't signed their name, but had drawn a strange symbol instead. That was the same symbol they found in the backyard, Mad-Eye Moody pointed to it. What does it mean? Alistair shrugged. It is a symbol of an old deity popularly worshipped in Carthage, though actually the symbol has been associated with several deities across many cultures. The one thing all the cultures had in common, though, was that the symbol was usually connected with the sacrifice of children. The sacrifice of children? Dumbledore repeated, paling a bit. Yes, Mad-Eye scowled. In fact, it was because of this that the early Christians first started persecuting our kind. Dumbledore sighed, probably because our kind were often sacrificing the Muggle children. The old religions were often a front for Muggle genocide. Mad-Eye Moody nodded. But the Ministry outlawed this practice years ago. Even the Death Eaters, as anti-Muggle as they were, didn't revive it. And yet someone murdered the family and drew this symbol in the backyard, and we see it on this drawing too. Alistair objected. It wasn't the families that got sacrificed, though, only the children, and Harry is missing. Dumbledore was quiet for a moment, then spoke. I do not think this is a coincidence. If nothing else, the symbol may have been drawn to be a false lead. He paused. I think Harry drew this picture. Mad-Eye Moody glowered. You don't know that. His cousin was about his age, wasn't he? He could have drawn it. I think it was Harry. The question is, then, who is this girl in the picture? Alistair sneezed into a handkerchief. It may not be anyone. He could have been drawing something he saw in a movie. Dumbledore shook his head and folded up the paper, putting it in his robe. I'm afraid, Mad-Eye Moody continued after another sneeze, we have to accept that the boy is lost to us. Our protective measures simply were not enough, and either the Dark Lord or one of his followers got to him. I don't think the Dark Lord or the Death Eaters had anything to do with this, Dumbledore replied. I fear something else may be responsible, something much worse, I'm afraid. What? I don't know, the headmaster admitted, only that perhaps there was something to those old religions and it wasn't always about Muggle genocide. Alistair Moody was unconvinced but didn't argue. They exited the house. The children had gone in for lunch. The ladies had returned to their household chores. The street was empty of onlookers. Dumbledore turned and looked down at the doorstep where he had left Harry years ago, believing he was doing the best thing to keep the child safe. Sadly, he thought, Harry, what happened to you?